Uh, so yeah, I'm absolutely grateful. Obviously, the strike we're really starting to feel the effects. And there are typically jobs within my industry that are protected from that, where like they're not really affected, but even those are starting to be affected. So absolutely grateful to have a job. But for all the people in the chat that work at night, I feel your pain, man. It is really rough, especially when you have daytime responsibilities. It's rough to try to budget.
So walk me through your day from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. What does that look like?
So right now, I woke up. I've been waking up somewhere anywhere between 1 and 2. If I wake up at 1, it actually is pretty brutal during the shift. But I will wake up around 2:30. Sometimes I'll have about an hour before we come on, do a little research, try to answer some people.
2:30 p.m. Right?
Yeah, 2:30 p.m. And then I'll try to respond to some people on Twitter or try to be somewhat active because I just want to catch up on the news. And then we'll do the podcast around 4 o'clock. 5:15 we finish. I'll go pick up my daughter, and then depending on the day, I'm usually back out the door by 7 p.m. and I sit down and start my shift at 8 p.m. And if on the 8 p.m.
So
night,
you pick up your daughter, you bring her back home, and then from like 5:30 to 7, do you eat breakfast or anything?
Yeah,
or what do you
5:30 to 7, I'll usually try to eat, prepare something to bring with me for dinner. Catch up on any other correspondence that I have to do. If I have a side project, I'll usually try to finish some of that work then. Like I do a bunch of comedy specials on the side. I do sizzle reel or development work. I'll do that stuff then, try to have some of those business calls. Then I'm out the door by 7. Sometimes I'll even have a business call from 7 to 8 as I'm driving in just to maximize that driving time. Sit down at 8 o'clock. And it's one of those jobs where you literally have to be working the entire time. Like you have to be moving. It's so intense. So from 8 p.m. till 6 a.m., I'm working. I'm back home usually around 6:30 in the morning. Hop on Twitter for a little bit. Sometimes my daughter wakes up. If she wakes up sufficiently early, sometimes I'll actually just stay awake and take her to school.
Yeah.
So she'll get to her daycare around 8:30, and then I'm back home and I go to sleep.
So you sleep from 9 to kind of 1 or 2. So that's what, 5 hours?
5,
10,
6
11,
hours.
12, 1, 2, about 6, 5, 6. Yeah.
About 6. Yeah. But other times that's not possible because there's other things I have to do. Like I'll be taking her to the dentist next week. She's got an appointment at 9, so I probably won't get to bed till about 10 on that day. And it gets tough. It's just the compounding of it. Like when you continue to do that schedule and your body fully shifts into that mindset, come the weekends, you still have to be on that schedule because you have to stay on that schedule for Monday morning. So that gets tricky. I usually try to cheat it and game it. Oh, thank you, V. Amazed Carlos works this hard and still looks 30 years old. I try, man. It's not
Dude,
easy.
how do you look this young? You got some vampire blood or something going on.
I think it is. I asked my parents, I want to see pictures of you pregnant, Mom. I want to make sure that I wasn't made in a lab or something or hatched out of a freaking egg or a coffin.
You do not look 47 at all.
I don't. Well, I'm 46. Don't give me the extra year. Not
like
yet.
Even, bro, you don't look like you're in your 40s. It just does not look like that's the case.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think some of it is I've been consistent with the gym, even though I'll have spats where I don't work out for a little bit. Like right now, it's been really tough to find the time to work out. I feel like in a week or so I'll be able to catch up on that again. But I think it's some of that and kind of somewhat clean eating. I talk a lot about sushi, but I really do love my sushi. It's really clean food. And I don't know, some of it's genes too. My parents look really young for a long time. Like my dad looked really young for a long time. And once he hit probably 55, 60, his hair went white, then it's, you're going to look old at some point. But my mom still looks great and she's pushing 70. She looks great. She's a little firecracker. So you can do it. You can do it. He's 63. Hey, Ray, I see you. How old is everybody in the chat? Now you all got to disco. We're doing the old
school. Let us know and don't lie. Don't lie.
Check. Yeah, come on, everybody, and don't lie. We're gonna add 3 years to everybody, or 5 years to everybody.
Wait, what? What are you guys talking about?
My age. They say I look young. I mean, I did just come out of the shower, just shaved. Did my exfoliation for you guys that were on that podcast. I told you my whole routine. Keels,
Carlos is older,
cucumber.
Guys. Come on, Carlos is older.
No, they're saying their age now.
We're 30, 35, 33, 52, 31, 50, 38. 41, 31. We haven't seen any 20s yet at all.
No 20s.
46.
Well, the metrics on the metrics on the videos will tell you that. We don't have 85.
We have a minor somehow in the chat.
No, Harry Toe is 81. I don't believe you.
29. Okay, so Hakun is 29. Sean is 20. Oh, I think I know Sean. I know Sean. V is 48. Taylor's 90. Okay, whatever, 95.
Yeah, okay.
28,
95.
32, 34, 27,
Most of these guys,
37.
they're mostly guys, and most of them are in their 30s. Who's jailbait?
I
Kelly coming in
say
as jailbait. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say usually 28 is the time where like the stock market, because I think at 28 you start to realize that you're no longer a kid anymore and that you need to figure out
Wait,
your
is it
life.
28 or 27?
28,
It kind of
27-ish,
depends.
whatever.
It
Like the
depends for a
later
guy and a
20s.
girl. But
I think
I
it's 27.
remember I started my career. I was super young, 20, 21 years old. I'm in the meetings with these executives and creative directors. The day I turned 30, it was super different in the office.
But did you feel when you were 28, you were inching toward that?
20,
I think Chris is describing a
it was
universal
29.
feeling that at 28, you don't feel like a kid anymore.
I think
Or
for me it was
27.
29, and I think it also depends on when your parents had you. So my parents had me really young, and so one of my first memories was celebrating my dad's 28th birthday. He had me when he was 23,
shit.
so around 5 years old, I remember singing "Happy Birthday" to my dad, and I remember thinking, 28 years old, like he's so old, you know, he's just what I'm counting on my fingers and toes, you know, and 3 weeks to 30, Ray, I'm telling you, everyone's gonna treat you different. Everyone's going to treat you differently after that. And I think for women, it's the same thing. It might even be more so because I even see that would see that with women in the office when they're 29. It's like, no expectations of them. At 30, suddenly there's a lot of expectations of them.
Chris,
it's time to be an adult.
and David, we'll get to the super chat in a little bit. Chris, when did you start investing again? What age were you at?
20, like officially really started hardcore investing at like 25, 26. Before that, it was just like, oh, save my money in retirement. Like, because like once I got out of the military, I had a lot of things that I needed to help my parents with.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, let me do that. And then I wanted to buy my own place. So I bought my own place. So a lot of my money was being tied up in like things like that. So I didn't really start to get really hardcore investing until like 26 probably. So 12 years, I'd
Did
say.
you have someone in your life,
yeah.
like an elder, that said, "Hey, Chris," or guide you through that, or give you
Not
some advice?
really. I mean, my dad, because my dad had lost money in the market. So it was like,
It's more of a
you know,
warning.
yeah, it was more like a warning. So like I was very like careful with my entry in. But then again, I was an idiot. Like I bought BlackBerry stock. Like when Apple was coming out. So, you know, I was like, oh man, BlackBerry, everyone loves BlackBerry. They're gonna turn it around. It's gonna be great. And they never really did. So that sucked. You
Chris
know.
is trying to make sure I'm not an idiot now that I'm the same age he was when he started investing.
Yes.
A lot of it is that.
When do you guys think a midlife crisis happens? And have you had a midlife crisis, any of you?
Well,
I did when I was 18.
Define midlife crisis.
Okay, so it's not really midlife, but it's more so you get to an age where you're conscious of the fact that you're going to die. And I feel like I genuinely had that crisis at 20 years old.
They call that the quarter life crisis. And I'm
I guess
serious. They call it a quarter life crisis. I don't know if it means so much that you're about to die. I think
not about to die. You recognize you're going to die. Like it's like
you recognize your mortality.
They're gonna, like at 5 years old, a kid does not worried about death.
I would start passing away, like you know. So like for
CP Bisco's comment while Chris is talking at 4.
So like with you right now, Amit, you know, your grandfather passed away, and that was a very big tragedy. But it's something that you still have your father. But I can guarantee you, like when your father eventually passes, that's when you're like, wait a second, like there's no more generation above mine. And that's when it really hits you, you know. So right now, my dad is 68. So, you know, he's
my
there.
dad is 63. So, and you're older than me. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that everyone's going to have to come to terms with and accept. Like when my grandfather passed away, that's when I was like you. I was in my 25s, right? So I felt like, oh my God, this is like really fucked up, blah, blah, blah. But I was able to eventually process through it. But my dad was around. So it was almost like me and my dad were, you know, combating this tragedy together. And I was never really that close to my grandfather. My maternal grandparents had passed away much, much earlier. So I never really had to really like face up to that. But when my grandmother passed away, that was more sudden. So that was a shock. But my grandfather, he was in good shape until his late 80s. And then when he passed, it was kind of like that moment. That's when I had the quarter life crisis, just like you. And then after that, I'm guessing like it'll happen when my father or mother passes away. Like when that happens, it's like, holy shit, what the fuck? And that's when your mortality starts to set in. And then, you know, it goes from there.
we, as you guys know, I didn't say it publicly, but a few weeks back, I had a scare with my dad. They told me that my dad had a stroke, and I saw they sent me the pictures on the WhatsApp, and it did freak me out. I can attest to some of what you're saying, Chris, because I definitely felt like, okay, I then become the front line. I'm like, that's it. Now I'm the one carrying the baton. I'm the one that basically dictates where this family is going to go. And I'm the last male with my last name. And so if I don't have a son, then basically it ends with me. I can definitely attest to that. I had that feeling. And there's also Detra Ed had a great point at 413. I start seeing and talking to more younger people when I do business, and I realize older I am. That's true too. That's true. The average age of, like I say, an upcoming producer that I work with stays roughly the same, but I continue to get older. And even in conversations with you, Amit, I realize how disconnected we actually are, even though we have a common interest. There's like certain references that I might make as whether it's a movie, a TV show, a song, and you're like, I wasn't born for that, or
I thought Tool was what they used on Home Improvement. I was like, oh, that's they used Tool.
The fact that you know Home Improvement makes me feel better.
That does make me feel better. That does make me feel
because
better.
Nick and Night, Bel-Air, Roseanne, all those guys. See, this is what happens when the stock market's red. We start talking about death. So that's
well. Let's talk about Jerome Powell, and then let's look at a Bitcoin chart, man. I'm like,
all right, Jerome Powell paused rates. Market was okay for 40 minutes. Then some reporter asked him some clickbait question, and he sounded more hawkish. Then it tanked. Chris, what was your reaction to today's rates?
He was cautiously optimistic. He was echoing a lot of the sentiment that the European Union was doing, the same thing, where he wanted in his gut, like, oh yes, we won. Like he feels the need to say that, but he knows that after, but the minute that you say that, the transitory bullshit will come right back in his head. Like, you remember when you said transitory, motherfucker? Like, no, we're gonna keep the people guessing. And just basically, he did what I was expecting, which is we're going to be data driven. And then I guess the best question was, what do you think about your forecasters who've continuously got things wrong? And so he's trying to cover for them, and he's like, well, forecasting is really hard, and like you have to be humble about it. And I was just like, that's exactly right. No one can honestly forecast things that are coming. Like, I could never have forecasted that the housing market would be stronger after interest rates rose. Like, that was not in my bingo cards, because I was thinking interest rates go up, people don't buy houses, people need to sell houses. If people don't buy houses, house prices go down. Lo and behold, I never thought, well, most people actually have under 4% mortgages, so they're going to hold off on selling them. And the people who are going to buy, they're going to have an inventory shortage. Like, that was not even a thought on my brain until it started to happen, So that's how forecasting works. It's like the fucking weather. No one can like, maybe you can tell what's going to happen like in a couple of days, but give it like next month and that's it. You're not really going to know what the hell happened,
I think
Carlos, go ahead.
Well, I agree with a lot of what Chris said. I feel like he does want to have that mission accomplished moment where he can say we're finally through this and sort of get out of the spotlight and let the economy do what it's got to do. But I don't think that it would have been a smart move to do it right now, considering how markets responded to even just the slight idea that it's not that he's a bit hawkish. But I keep telling myself that all this money that they printed that put us in this situation needs to go somewhere. It's not just going to stay on balance sheets. I mean, the reason they printed is because they needed money to move. That's how the economy works, is with the flow of money. And so at some point, this money needs to be released back into the markets. This is what's going to drive asset prices up. And so I keep telling myself,
isn't all of it stuck in money market funds? I mean, that's what most of it is. So
I mean, what do you mean? Like hedge funds and ETFs?
Yeah, there's $5 trillion getting 5% or 4.5% from these money market funds.
That money... Yes, but that money is basically sitting in safety. You can consider that it's safety. Even if there's $5 trillion, there's still another $3 trillion out there that I'm not sure exactly where it went. To be honest, people can just be holding it on their balance sheets just because you don't want to be putting it into a risky asset for people that are waiting to sell. The point is, it needs to come back into the market. We need to actually see the overall increase in markets to equal the amount of money that was printed, and we haven't seen that yet. I think we've seen a little bit of it, but we haven't seen that yet. And so I am optimistic that some of the assets, as we talked about the other day, if you're smart and you're buying the assets that will be the safe havens, the companies that will perform, or crypto, even in that sense. We talk a little bit about it, but I'm very bullish on it. I do believe that we will start to see some of that money bleed back in.
So I would say what really fucked us hard. Well, God damn it, I need to stop cursing. Like that's one of the things that like
He's
is
like,
on my
God
to-do
damn it.
list. I need to stop. I'm
like-
worse
He's
than
like,
a sailor,
fuck, I have to
dude.
stop fucking
Stop.
cursing.
YouTube's gonna like limit monetization. We say we're allowed, I think, like two curse words, and I think I already passed that.
It's the first 30 seconds. If you don't have any
Okay.
F words in the first 30 seconds, you're usually fine. Nothing
Okay.
egregious in the title as well. I'm gonna put the date in the
Yeah, please do that. Yeah.
What really screwed us over was this right here. Oil had really come down year over year in June, the end of June. And that's when all hell broke loose and started reaccelerating. And now oil is actually starting to climb back up way beyond the year over year number. So this is the thing that's like really trending badly for us. But had this not come around and like literally we were flatlining here on year over year for gasoline, we could have been in a better place in terms of inflation on headline. And then same thing with this. Like you can see rent is all the way down. It's flat year over year. But on the other side, you've got owned dwellings, you know, which are holding up in price primarily because the interest rates are high. What's funny is I feel like when they start lowering the interest rates, this will start coming down because a lot of people are going to be listing their homes that, you know, they're like, oh, I can finally sell my home at a decent price without, you know, and buy another house at a decent price without paying a shit ton in interest payments, you know? So this is where I think we could see a much stronger 2024 than it's actually out in the numbers right now. So if I had to make a forecast, if there was a gun to my head, I'd say that we're going to have a pretty strong 2024, maybe early 2024.
But what's driving that? The thing is, what's driving that? This is the argument that you're hearing. Even in the political circles, everyone's showing all these metrics that the economy is doing well, but the end user, the end customer is not seeing that. They're still paying an exorbitant amount of money for the basic necessities. So where's all this money going to come from? Where is this boom? Or are we just talking about money trading in, you know, in stocks and portfolios? That's very different than the economy actually doing well.
Yeah. And you nailed it on the head. When it comes to it, the general economy and the stock market are two different things, right? Today we saw like pretty much the market tumble on itself after that specific question. But even before that, there were a lot of great companies that were selling off. Like Google was selling off, Celsius was selling off. I don't know if you guys saw that. There's a ton of companies that were down today that are actually like safe haven companies and safe stocks. So I don't know. Like I would just say that I'm cautiously optimistic about 2024. The Fed has gotten it wrong all this time, and I think they're going to get it wrong again. I think
we're like in a good way, like they'll pause longer than they should, or
I think what's going to happen is right now you're seeing used car sales. That's going to be the first domino that drops. So used cars, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of credit events, you know, and what, you know, Vitaly sent us. There's a large amount of cars that are finally getting repoed and they're negative negative equitized. So people might walk away from them. And if they all end up on the lots, then the price of cars will come down. If the price of cars come down, then people, you know, there might be, that'll start to decrease inflation, you know. And with the housing situation, I think we're at a peak in terms of housing prices. I don't think the housing has any more room to run beyond what it is right now. I mean, housing is out of reach for I think about 95% of Americans, and the only 5% that can buy are people that are like flush with cash, and that's about it. Like I don't know anyone who can qualify for an 8%, 9% mortgage with their current pay rate and still pay like an 800. Like, dude, Atlanta, Georgia, in like the suburbs, I'm seeing houses that were like 3-4 years ago for like 400, 500,000. They're asking for baseline 800,000. And I'm like, where do you think all this money's fucking going to come from, man?
What's reasonable for Atlanta? 700 or 500?
I would say 400, depending on the neighborhood. Cause like if you go to like the northern suburbs with better school districts, like 500 to 700 is good. But like anything excess of that is just too much. But like it depends on the school district. Like no matter where you go, that's the one piece of advice I'll tell you, Amit. When you buy a house, before you look at the house itself, find the school district. If it's a good school district, the property will retain its value no matter what recession comes. If it's a shitty school district,
that's usually on the listing. to be fair. It usually have a ratings of all the local schools, like your local junior high school and high school, and then it also has like a walkable score. How walkable is the neighborhood? So if you ever get left without a car. But
wait, so
what he's saying is true.
Vitaly says, go ahead, Carlos, finish up.
Most people want to live in an area that has good schools, because if you're going to be there on a 5 or 10 year time horizon, you want to be able to drive your kid to the local school. You don't want to have to shuttle them miles and miles away from your home to have them have good education. So
you don't want the kid to get shot going into school.
Exactly. And also for you, as parents, you don't want to be driving if you have work.
Right.
It creates a lot of pressure on you guys. It takes a lot of time out of your day just shuttling these kids around, or for after school activities, right? If you live in an area that's not great. So you want to have the kids close to an area where you can have them go to elementary school, junior high school, and possibly high school, all in the same area with a score of 9s or 10s, It was actually an area of Texas that I was looking at that has really, really good schools. Well, and what drove me to that area was a post this new school that opened up in the area. I sent it to Vitaly actually, and I was looking at housing prices there. So at some point, I might just bite the bullet and go. I'm telling you, Bitcoin hits my number, I'm gonna be.
Dude, I told my mom for the first time,
it.
My mom was like, "Oh, in Dubai they don't pay taxes." I was like, "In Florida, Texas, and Nevada they don't have state income taxes," and she couldn't believe it. She's like, they don't pay income
but they tax you
like,
other ways. Like look at the property taxes in those areas, and they're actually variable. Like there are some people that are like, man, I almost want state taxes because they could raise and lower.
And the teachers are paid like shit in Florida. So even though you don't pay state income tax, your starting salary is really bad.
Right. So they get you anyway. Hold on, V. What's my BTC number? I think I start scaling out around 100,000. I think around 100,000. I'll probably sell a little over half the position, and then if we start seeing the 150,
how many Bitcoin do you have, Carlos?
A good number.
I love throwing that into you. Like you never.
I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk.
Like one day you'll be like, oh,
try that to make it. I have a good number, a decent number for someone that really started heavily accumulating around.
Is it more than 10?
I'm not saying what I've got, dude.
Okay. We'll go back to Bitcoin in a second. Let me do one thing. So Vitaly says house prices always go up, and he's probably going to be right super long term. But Chris, you're saying you just don't think people will be able to afford these prices, so it has to contract a little bit in the short term.
I think this is the one time where we might get a 1990s type scenario where you literally have housing prices frozen in time for like 10 years, where you'll see like gradual improvements, but nothing like we saw over the last 15 years where you had prices of homes just go way beyond inflation. Normally housing tracks inflation, because it's affordability, right? Unless you live in an area that went from ghetto, shitty, like no one wanted to live there, to like really developed, then it's a different story. Like, Amit, do you remember Hoboken back in the day? Hoboken was a pretty shitty area. And then like all the development started happening around it. And now all of a sudden the rents are like $3,000, $4,000.
Now there's golden retrievers that cost $20,000 walking on the street.
Yeah.
Like that's where it is now.
Wait, what do you mean?
Hoboken.
Like rich people have their dogs walking all day. Like it's a rich area now, Hoboken.
Yeah. Same thing with Williamsburg. You remember, Carlos, back in the day, Williamsburg, there used to be, Williamsburg and Bed-Stuy and Bushwick. Those areas used to be like
they were considered a dumpster. That was where when I started my first company, that's the area that we moved into. And I mean, I was right there on North 7th Street and what was that? North 7th and Bedford. What was that? Bedford Avenue right there on the what is that? I forgot the train, the L train. The L train right there and at the first stop. And I was like, my God, how would nobody? There's all those warehouses after a certain block. It was nothing but where all of those high rises are now, where Whole Foods moved in and Trader Joe's and all those, those massive buildings. It was like, why don't we buy something here? You're talking about 2005 or 2001. It was like it was the perfect time to buy. And actually, my former boss at the time, the last boss that I ever had, was looking to buy a building around there. And I know several people that bought buildings and then saw a 20x return. I mean, you bought it for 200,000. Now it's worth $2.5 million or something.
And it's the land value. The land value is the main thing. If you have land near city center and the area gets zoned for like a different use, like a lot of times what happens is you'll have property areas that are zoned for like mixed industrial and commercial use. And, you'll get a certain price for it. But then when it gets like rezoned for like high density residential, that the developers are coming and they'll offer you like crazy amounts of money just to like move you around. So I'd say if you live in an up and coming city like Austin, there are pockets of Austin right now that are still not like, that are just now being rezoned for like high density multifamily development. Bro, those lots are going to be fucking going up like crazy. So, just in case if you wanted to invest in real estate, that's the way that I would do it. I wouldn't buy anything in a nice, like, to live in is a different story than investing in. Like, if you want to live in a nice neighborhood, you go find a nice neighborhood. Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna tough it out in a shitty neighborhood where I could possibly get mugged and jump every time. I mean, that was my life story growing up, man. We lived in shitty parts of the city because that's what we could afford.
Kris, why don't you have like a $300,000 house that you're renting out and their rent is paying the mortgage? Why don't you have that as?
Well, I have my condo, right? I have my condo.
But no one rents it, right?
Yeah, because I'm selling it. It's going to be sold by the end of this year.
The property you live in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's another condo. I own a condo. I own a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom condo in Atlanta.
Oh, and what's your home address to pull in the mail?
Yeah, exactly.
Here, send me a pin.
What's good is that our maintenance is super low. It costs us barely anything to live here. So most of the income that comes in is literally going into our pockets. And it's just me and my wife. We don't have the need for, it's in a gated community. It's got amenities. Like it's in a really nice area. And at the same time, it's just me and my wife. Like, we don't need a lot of space. That's one of the biggest financial mistakes that so many young people make, is that they buy the 5-bedroom, 6-bedroom house with like, with like 4 bathrooms, like 2-car garage. Like, oh my God, this is going to be such a nice thing. And you spend your time in like 3 rooms a day. The rest of the time you're paying for heating and cooling in a giant house where you like, I have friends that are like that, where they have like an $800,000 house and they work to pay the mortgage basically. I'm not going to do that shit. I'm going to go based on what I need. Me and the wife now have a point where we are going to buy a home, but we're going to wait until something economical comes where we can actually utilize the space and not overpay for it. And at the same time, be somewhere where we want like one of our goals is to move close to our in-laws and our, like my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, like hopefully we live within a certain radius of each other, because we're all close. Like my in-laws right now, I picked up my in-laws from the airport yesterday. I hung out with my brother-in-law yesterday. So it's nice to have that community around you,
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Carlos, you have some Bitcoin news. Let's do the Bitcoin.
I just wanted to look at the price.
Okay. You want me to pull it up or you pull it up?
Oh, I can pull. Well, I was looking at the super chat actually. I was just looking to see what.
Oh, so let me do the super chats while you're doing that.
Yeah, because he talked about the cybersecurity stocks, which is funny.
Okay, David.
I'll give you the inside loop on this one. CrowdStrike. That's it. Like I use my hospital system has CrowdStrike. Everyone loves CrowdStrike. You barely even notice that it's there. The only thing that I would say about the cybersecurity field is that there is a shit ton of competition. And competition is bad for businesses. So just letting you know, David, if you do want to be in cybersecurity, that's fine. If you want to pick the gold standard of cybersecurity, in my opinion, that's CrowdStrike.
Okay, and the last part, can we agree that wrestlers Dan Housen and Luigi Primo are some of the funniest and most unique wrestlers?
I don't know
those guys.
I honestly, I don't know them.
Finally something you don't know.
My heyday, right? It's because you don't know the old stuff, and I don't know some of the new stuff. If you think about it.
Okay, another one. He said allegedly the reason Vitaly is late is because he's currently buying me a Bugatti La Voiture Noir vehicle. I would expect you to deliver me with no scratches or dings.
To go with the Lamborghini that I bought him apparently last week. I think he's telling us. I think that's his way of telling us the cars that he drives, the cars that he actually owns, right? So then he can take a picture of it, post it on Twitter, and be like, "Thanks, Vitaly. Thanks, Carlos."
Bro, what if David's getting his money from like some illegal cocaine pin, and one day YouTube emails us like, "Oh yeah, hey, total money talk about these super chats,
total money laundering. We're gonna be
like, you guys are part of this this super chat." Kelly, no, he said wrestlers, but he spelled it like that. That's why I pronounced it like that.
Oh well.
Okay, let's bring up the Bitcoin stuff. While you're doing that, Husen says I'm spending 7x less monthly on recharging my Tesla versus what I paid for gas with my Toyota. That's great.
I am jealous. I am jealous of you. I am so jealous. Like my wife has her Lexus. The shit eats fucking premium gas. Sorry, I dropped another F-bomb. But
wait, why does it need
look,
premium gas?
because that's what it is. It's tuned for the premium. So if you use like regular gas, the check engine light will come on, and it's just
wow.
Yeah, so
it burns cleaner, so it's meant for it's higher performance, right? And so it's meant to not have as many deposits in the engine, and they can tell if you try to put regular gas in there. When they open up, they'll check the O-rings and the pistons, and they'll know.
She has like an Lexus something, I think 200 NT, but she has like the F Sport, which she has like sport mode on the car, and she freaking loves the sport mode. So basically, if you turn on sport mode, it gives you like all this additional like torque and power. But I'm trying to convince her. I was like, next car electric, and we can't get an electric car because my condo doesn't have any place for me to charge it. So otherwise, I would go out tomorrow morning and get a fucking
look up
Tesla.
on a map and see where the superchargers are. And I'm telling you, it's not as much of an inconvenience as you think.
Nah, I'm too suburban for it. And she does have like chargers
20 minutes every couple of days.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to use that gas in like a Honda Civic, or only for a good car?
We use it for anything. It's
like I could get premium gas.
Yeah, you could put premium gas, but you won't necessarily see the benefits of it in every vehicle. You're just paying more for it.
Michael says I spent $79 at the pump 2 days ago. Damn, bro, that's tough.
I've been super fortunate. The one really good thing about the place that I'm working now is that they do have on-site EV charging. They have about maybe 10 EV chargers up on the roof of the parking lot. And so I go up there and you see mostly Teslas, but you'll see other cars up there, like no pickup trucks, but you'll see like hybrids and whatnot plugged up there. And so you'll see, this is what I've spent on charging the last month. $0.
Don't show me that. It makes me fucking
$0?
feel
$0. Because I just charged there, and you can see I'm charging every 3 or 4 days, depending. Just charge 3 or 4 days. And so I've saved already $134 in gas equivalent. And I charge 317 kilowatt hours. So the battery in the X is 100 kilowatts. So I've gotten 3 tanks of gasoline, say 3 full tanks of gasoline. And the other cool thing about it is I basically take both of the cars there. So on my wife's car,
J-Swat, I work from home. My wife doesn't. The wife is the one that it drives. And for anyone who's in Atlanta, we live in, no, I'm not gonna say. Fuck that, man. Y'all already I already revealed too many personal things about my life, man. Like one day I gotta knock on the door. Hey, I'm your biggest fan, and I'm like, shit. Hey,
dude, if someone said that, I would invite them over. I'd be like, yo, come through. Like, let's have a drink or whatever.
Here, so real quick, because I've been watching this. This is where my target for Bitcoin is for tomorrow. If you look at the last 3 years, I'll actually bring up those photos. We'll talk about something else, and I'll pull up those photos. But if you look at the last 3 years, this day has marked, the 21st has marked the lowest price of the year, the lowest price for the remainder of the year. And you can see what's been happening. We've been putting in lower highs since essentially, what was that, July 23rd. We had a run up, pull back, slight run up, pull back. And then they're usually, these are daily candles. So a small daily candle, and then that usually just triggers a big sell-off. We had a big run-up in August, a day of a short losses, and then big losses. Short losses, bigger losses. So I'm thinking, and you see right here, we're touching up against that trend line right there. So my guess is we'll end the Bitcoin day in the red, and then tomorrow we might see a massive pullback, potentially even triggered by what people heard today.
Why does tomorrow matter specifically?
It's it has more to do with 60-day cycles of Bitcoin. It has to do with options. People playing options against it and expiration dates, and so it's somewhat regular. And the fact that this is a pre-halving year, I'm believing, my belief has been that we will see the lowest price that we're going to see for the remainder of the year, either today or tomorrow, right? And so it's literally printing the chart exactly the way that I expected it to print. And so I am holding on to some cash on the side, and we'll be making a purchase tomorrow.
My next car is probably going to be a Tesla, but I might just get a used Model X, to be honest with you. Like, the prices are coming down so significantly. I'm like, I know that like the battery is going to last at least a guaranteed like almost 8 years. So if I can get like 1 or 2 model years below it, I don't mind that. But I think my wife likes riding higher, so the Model X is probably the car that we'd end up getting, you know.
I can make a testament to that vehicle being probably the best vehicle that I've ever owned. It is the perfect sweet spot of everything that you need. If, for example, if you, like you said, you guys don't have any kids yet, so you don't necessarily need to be hauling around all this extra weight and all this extra space. But if you do, you want a car that can grow with you. You want a car that's stylish. You want a car that's fast, right? So there's a million. There's all the boxes that it checks. And to be honest, those gull wing doors are so unbelievably utilitarian. It's hard. Oh, someone's even asking. I'm telling you, if they made a Model Y that had the gull wing doors, I would probably have gotten that. They are so absolutely functional. Aside from looking cool, they open up in a space much smaller than what a traditional door could open up, because they open completely out of the way. So if you've got a foot or two of space between you and another vehicle in a parking lot, you're constantly worried about smashing that, hitting that other car. And even if you can get the door open, there's maybe 6 inches of space you can actually get in there. These gull wing doors slide up and open all the way out and get completely out of the way. It's the benefit of like that minivan door that slides completely out of your way. But it also has the other benefit of when it's raining or if it's super sunny, they will protect you while you're doing whatever you got to do in the vehicle. They're so unbelievably freaking functional.
I'd like to get a Model Y, but the only thing that like is a like detracting thing for me is that I need a cluster panel. Like, I don't know why I do not feel comfortable with just that one screen. Like, what happens if the screen goes out? Like, how, like,
I mean, if the screen goes out, you're going to have problems. If the screen goes out, you're going to, yes, you're going to have problems. But to be honest, we had the Model Y before, and you completely get used to it. And actually, what I really like about the car, a lot of people say, is the unbelievable visibility that you have. You still have that in the X, but that unbelievable visibility gives you a certain feeling when you drive the car that you find yourself not really looking at the instrument clusters.
I hope the next version they make like a Model Y with clusters, dude. That would be it for me. Like, I'd love that. But
Warren and I were going back and forth. He believes or thinks that they should have a plaid versions of the Model Y and the Model 3. I was debating whether or not the battery would give you any usable range, but yeah, I agree. If they made a Model Y, say with plaid motors and some of the other features of the X, like if they upgraded and have the TV screen in the back, there's a couple things they can do to really make that Model Y essentially irresistible. Not that it already isn't, you know.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask a question and I literally forgot my question. So if anyone in the chat has some questions for us,
we were talking about this yesterday. 15 minutes. I'd love to have. We should put the link in the chat and get.
Let's put the link. We haven't done that in a while.
Done that in a long time, and I actually
to be fair, the reason we didn't do it is because no one joined. So because everyone's scared. So
what is everyone scared about?
Kelly joined.
Don't worry, Vitaly's not on today. Okay, Vitaly's not gonna make fun of you.
Oh my god. Amit, why do I remember watching a video that you bought a Tesla? Was that a joke? Oh, that was a tweet. It was actually Vitaly's Tesla. So yes, that was it. But Elon Musk liked that tweet, and I got 1 million impressions on that tweet. So I sucked Vitaly Drive.
So Carlos, I had a quick thing. Do you guys see the movie, the trailer for called The Creator? Did you guys see that?
Why does that sound familiar?
No. Okay.
Is it fairly recent?
Movie. Yeah. Let me put it on 1 second. Are we gonna get demonetized for The Creator, like the trailer? Like,
is it like a big box movie? Because then yes, 100%.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get money, but we can still play it. I mean, I don't care.
Okay,
David covered the if they take David super chats too.
I want to see, because I see all these people. I see all these people reviewing movies and stuff. So this is just a movie trailer. So I don't think they can.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Hold on,
Michael. You can't be scared of Vitaly. You're gonna meet him in Vegas. He's a nice person.
Okay, here it is. Can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
They protected me. Took better care of me than humans would have.
They're not people, Maya.
We're gonna get demonetized, dude. Seriously.
It's okay. Fuck it. It makes like $10.
10 years ago today, the artificial intelligence created to protect us detonated a nuclear warhead in Los Angeles. This is a fight for our very existence.
This shit looks cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Sergeant Taylor, we are this close to winning the war. But the AI are developing a super weapon. Retrieve it, or they win.
Come back to you.
locate the weapon.
Yeah, it's just a kid.
Are you going to heaven?
No. You gotta be a good person to go to heaven.
So we're the same. We can't go to heaven because you're not good. And I'm not a person.
Do you have any idea what the thing is?
She looks like a little girl now, but she's growing. Whoever has that kid wins the war.
Whose side do you want, huh?
What do you want, sweetie?
For robots to be free.
Oh, we don't have that in the fridge. How about ice cream?
Oh, so it is. You're muted.
Amazing trailer, right? Amazing movie.
Good trailer.
Do you know, what do you think was the rough cost of this movie?
The cost of that movie?
Mm-hmm.
I would say not much, because most of it goes to advertising and paying the actors. I didn't really see that many name actors.
So how much? Give me an estimate.
I would probably say, let me just go lowball at like 10 million.
No, that's way too lowball. Indie movies don't even do 10 million.
I was gonna say 100 million.
So
100 million is low, actually.
This one was $80 million. Okay.
Not,
full on cost $80 million. Now, believe it or not, with all these new movies that are coming out, they're like 250. Like, look, No User Found at 350 million, 250 million, 120 million. Dude, 80 million this movie was made. And the way that the director did it was that they limited using green screen. So they didn't build sets and do green screens. They actually went on site, did the filming, and then in post added all the stuff to it. Like, it's crazy the amount of things that you can do now with AI, but not necessarily to replace the jobs of anybody, but basically to craft like an entire new world without having to actually, you know, like create a whole different thing for it. So,
what company did they use to make the AI so we can invest in it?
That's a good question.
I know what company.
It's mostly the software. That's all. It's all software.
Yeah, but what company made the software?
Paying the people.
I don't know.
To do it.
But the point is,
Unreal Engine, Unity. I mean, it's 3D software.
The point is, they were able to do it for 80 million. And if this does in the box office, like even after promotion, like 100 million in, you know, in promotion or whatever, this movie could honestly be one of the most profitable movies for the entire year. And I say that because so many movies are coming out and they're not doing well at the box office, and the costs are so high that now there's actually filmmakers figuring out how to make AAA rated movies like that on the cheap, which is kind of crazy to see, because I think that could be a good value proposition for companies that have been doing streaming but also have like studios and literally been paying through the nose to make content, like high quality content. I think this is a trend that we're going to be seeing now. You know,
no, absolutely. Every time you see one of these massive blockbuster films that come out that sort of reinvent or bring to light some new technology, the overall technology starts to get cheaper, and you start to see it everywhere. The fact that Disney did The Mandalorian as a TV series, they had to invent certain techniques that could be repeatable, right? Because you cannot spend the money that you spend on the budget of a film to make a TV series, and so you have to make it repeatable, and you have to make it, and you basically have to have such a long run on the show that you can definitely recoup the investment. That's one of the reasons why that show looks so good. And now those techniques are being trickled on to other TV shows, and so the cost of having something look really, really good has come down a lot. I mean, even if you just look at video games, what they were 10 years ago versus what they are today. A lot of the video games, if you see the trailers for these video games, for a good bit of it, it's probably indistinguishable from reality. Only until you start seeing people, which they haven't gotten perfect yet, and they're getting better at that. How much do you think The Irishman cost Netflix? Put out a number. Oh, to purchase?
No, to make.
Oh, I
They
don't
made
know.
that was a
I don't
Netflix studio film.
I
Chris,
don't
what do you
know.
think? How
Well,
much did it cost?
there was a
50
lot of
million.
there was
You
a
think
lot
okay?
of
So Irishman 50 million. What about you, Carlos?
I'm gonna say 80 million just because of all those actors.
Cost these guys 159 million for
Yeah.
that.
Shit.
And that thing you just showed me, Chris, looks way more exciting than this shit.
Well, look, a lot of the money went to the de-aging technology and used to make the cast look younger. And that there was actually a funny video about that because the de-aging technology that they used in the actual movie looked horrendous. And some guy,
Oh, yes, I agree.
some VFX guy went in and actually took their shots and he did versions of it himself for like pennies on the dollar, and it looked perfect. And he was like, what are these guys spending their money on, right? It's like government spending versus money in the private sector. It's like, they're just not efficient with it. And he did a much better job, on it. But yeah, but also that was 159 million X number of years ago. You have to adjust those.
Yeah.
So when they say, oh my God, this movie made so much money, they always have to adjust for inflation because, you know, you can look at a movie in the 80s and inflate that today, and you'll see that they actually made really good money back in the day on these movies.
All right, we got someone backstage. Our good friend Scott.
What's up, guys?
What's up,
I'm at
Scott?
work, but
You're at the shop. That's awesome.
yeah. I thought it was a really good idea that y'all want to do a 15-minute segment of like people asking questions.
I love this segment.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I don't think people should be so shy about getting on. I mean, I am, but it's not that bad talking to you guys. But you were on the topic earlier about Bitcoin, and my friend put me on Chainlink, and I bought like 300 shares or coins. And I was wondering if you had an opinion on that.
Personally, I stay away from that stuff, my man.
Damn.
I
haven't lost money on it yet, so maybe I'll sell it out.
Look, if you haven't lost money on it, then maybe.
Wait, first of all, what is Chainlink? Can you give me a quick TLDR?
It's another coin, yes. And why don't you explain the bull case that your friend told you to buy that?
Well, it's quick payment transfers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's the purpose of Chainlink.
Kill PayPal, basically.
I guess. Yeah, I'm sure Carlos knows a lot more about it than I do.
I actually try to stay away from that. To me, that is a lot of the stuff that tries to capitalize on the actual utility of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I feel like just own the originals. You know, just own the originals. Those were completely thought through. And look, a lot. And if you look at what happens to altcoins on the pre-halving years of Bitcoins, they bleed 80-90% against Bitcoin. So that there's charge. You can look up
$7 right now. It has a $4 billion market cap.
$4 billion. You can so easily lose all your money when a $4 billion market cap that it's not even funny. It's actually pretty dangerous. And if you look at on TradingView, there's always charts that compare to Bitcoin. Like, you know how like you everything you compare everything to the US dollar. There's charts that track the value of all of the altcoins.
Dude, this thing is up 4,000% since 2018.
Yeah, but it's probably not up as much as Ethereum and Bitcoin are since 2018.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure. When I look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, though, I like Ethereum's chart and the upside a lot better. And that's how I was. I always just stuck to those two, but
yeah,
I got out completely and he just talked me into it. But like I said, I'm about even where I am right now. So
look, again, I try not to tell people what to do with their money, but I would never have invested in that. I would just much rather look for opportunities in the two main ones, because what happens is this: as the crypto, as the sentiment around crypto changes, people immediately sell out of all the speculative altcoins, and that's what you're starting to see. They call it like a reckoning, and literally the whole year the altcoins are just getting absolutely wrecked. And what's happening is that money starts going into Ethereum or Bitcoin. And basically what we need, that final capitulation, is when Ethereum absolutely completely bleeds against Bitcoin. Then what you realize is that everyone has now gone to the safe haven. They've gone to Bitcoin as like the savior. And that's typically what happens. So after Bitcoin's run up, though, like if you look at what happens to the altcoins after Bitcoin's run up, then people take some of that profit and they start to cascade those returns down into the altcoins. And with a $4 billion market cap, a couple billion go in there and you're going to quadruple, triple, quintuple your money, right? Because the market caps are so low. So typically I'll play around with some of the altcoins, but after Bitcoin has had its run up. And look, I'm holding some Cardano and I'm holding some Doge. I just wanted a certain amount of those. And once I hit that number, I've been staking Cardano and earning some more and just holding on to Doge, literally just on the off chance that it becomes like a payment system in the Tesla, X, Twitter, ecosystem. But other than that, it's money that I'm happy losing. I'm not happy losing, but it's money that I'd be okay losing.
Well, I was going to ask you, what's the purpose of Doge? But you kind of just told me your purpose is in case Tesla uses it.
Yeah, I mean, there've been people that have gone into the source code inside of the Tesla app, the Tesla store, as well as in the cars, and there is code there to accept payments in Doge. And you know that when they brought out the second version, or when they started to remake the quads, you could only buy them in Dogecoin. I forgot how many it was, 2,500 Doge or whatever it was at the time. You could only buy them in Dogecoin. To me, those are like slight little dog whistles that there is a plan for that long term, because overall it's a simpler network and it uses much less energy than Bitcoin does. And I actually believe, and this is, I'm not crazy in thinking this, that there are some people that do believe that eventually the cars themselves will be an active mining network, that people will be able to use some of the compute power in these cars as batteries get more efficient to have them actually be miners. Another way that they could make you money. Well, if Dogecoin uses so little energy, and that does become, say, the payment platform for the cars, you could see that your car is actually earning you some Doge and some credits. Now, these are all sort of years out, but when you want to own the asset when no one's looking at it, right? Because then you'll just never see those prices again. So that's my take on that. I think
that makes sense.
If you're not underwater on an altcoin in this year, you're doing well. But I'm not saying that.
I just bought it. I just bought it like a month and a half, 2 months ago, and it was up, 10%, and it's back down. So I'm close to even on it. And kind of what you said to me is kind of what my idea on it was.
I'm gonna break up the chart real quick.
I don't study up enough, but I appreciate your opinion on that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm very hesitant, especially when it comes to altcoins, because people get very religious with their altcoins. The Shiba Inu craze that we had a few years back, and so, but I have to, just as a viewer, and I feel like I know you, man. I can't honestly say like I think that that's a great investment, or that I believe in the technology. I believe that to a certain extent, a lot of those altcoins are Ponzi schemes. You're just taking money from the next batch of people that are buying it, thinking they're going to make money.
But Amit said the market cap's what, 4 billion?
$4 billion bucks.
3.9. Yeah.
Well, where's that compared to most altcoins? That's probably, I mean, Chainlink's not unheard of. It's not like one of those.
They're relatively small when you consider. Yeah, they're relatively small. They're usually in that the tens of, maybe the tens of billions. I mean, I think what Cardano's maybe 8 or 10 billion, but if you want to invest in something at that level, throw your money in SoFi. You know what I mean? Like that's one of those instances where I would want a CEO to be accountable for that, right? Because if it's $4 billion and it's people's money and there's really no one accountable for it, that's when you see some of the the FTX. That's when you see some of the nefarious.
Bro, there was a dude who threw 1,000 into Shiba Inu in like 2016, cashed out at 5 billion, bro. It's like the greatest return of all time.
Wait, there's no one who cashed out at 5 billion.
Yes, I'm gonna Google it. I'll find
I feel like
right
that
now.
would be.
He bought it in the hundreds.
There's not
of
enough.
pennies.
There's not enough liquidity to do.
Oh,
5 billion.
bro, you forgot how much Shiba Inu. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
it was 8,000 to 5.7 billion, and this is Business Insider. So
That's
is
insane.
legit.
That is insane.
Wait, there's a person with $5.7 billion because of Shiba Inu.
Well, a crypto investor showed an investor.
Okay, so this.
I don't know if they sold, but I'm assuming they sold.
Okay, so this is the problem when it comes to these crazy rises. Okay, there isn't enough liquidity to be able to cash out at $5.7 billion. Okay, so yes, you could have bought at 8,000, and if you said, "Oh, he cashed out at 5.7 million," that makes
check
sense.
the run up. Let's check. Let's see what the market cap was of Shiba Inu when it went crazy. Let's see.
Right, but if you can't sell,
like the return.
But Amit, if you can't sell, it's garbage. It makes
no, but I'm saying if
nothing.
the market cap was like 15 billion, they could have sold, right? They could have had liquidity if it was high. If the market cap was higher than the 5.7, it would have been hard.
But did they sell it or not?
I mean, that article doesn't really. Hold on.
Doesn't really say.
The series of trades began in August 2020. Investor bought 70 trillion coins. Sometime 8,000 purchase. The crypto wall now owns 13%.
Oh my god.
Okay, so what did they fucking? It doesn't say whether the 70 trillion will be able to liquidate their. Oh, this is basically Chris's point. We don't know. That's crazy though, bro.
That's
a hell of a return.
Here and real quick, let's bring up the chart on Link just to take a look at this. This is what you're investing in. This is what you're investing in right now.
I mean, it looks similar to the major ones to me. I mean, that chart looks pretty similar.
Well, no, in the sense that I don't know what controls Chainlink supply. That's really the big thing you have to look at. What controls the supply of new coins on the market? We know what that is with Bitcoin, and we know how it's generated, right?
Yeah.
And what you typically want is a steady supply, because if the supply continues to expand, then that's basically inflating the value of your currency away. That's exactly what's happening on the fiat side. They keep printing more dollars, so all of the dollars are worth less. You don't want to see that on something that's supposed to be a currency. I mean, right now it's down 87% off of its all-time highs. Doesn't mean that it can't bleed a little bit more.
Buy the dip. You got
So
it
this is
low.
what you're looking at. But I'm saying, like, when you're looking at these charts and you go, oh, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, and you zoom out a little bit, you realize it's all down.
Did you guys ever see the music video of Meet Kevin?
Yes.
Buy the dip.
Yo, can we watch
that?
that
Was so
shit?
funny. Yeah,
That
yeah,
shit
of
was
course.
the
I'll put
best
it
Hey,
on.
I'm out of here, guys.
ever.
I gotta close
All
up
right.
shop. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you, Scott. See you in Vegas, and see your special friend in
Oh,
Vegas
yeah,
as
that's
well.
awesome.
Hopefully.
Looking forward
Real
to
quick,
it, guys.
before you share that, because that will be the last thing, I do just want to share this one thing. Hold on. Which one is it?
Buying the dip. Buying the dip. Oh, baby. Oh, yo, that shit was stuck in my head in 2020 for like years.
Where
Yep.
is it?
Oh, Chris, you got it. Okay. Well, Carlos, show me your thing first then.
Yeah. Hey,
Like,
don't have-
I remember singing that song when I was like 3 years ago in 2020, just like around
Can
the
you
house.
only share? Can you only share screens that are on in Chrome tabs? That's so weird.
No,
Buying
you
the
can
dip.
share other.
Buying the dip.
I can't seem to share a window that's not.
So
You know
people,
what? I'm
yeah,
gonna
so
do
people
this.
might forget that song. But you know what? While you look for it, Carlos, here, put the thing on it while Carlos
play
looks
it?
for the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Oh man, your boy Kevin just lost lots
a lot of money.
Oh, that's okay. I am
With you.
Oh,
man.
Your boy Kevin just lost lots of money. Oh, but that's okay. I am with you. Here we go.
Here we go. Come on. Push it. Buying the dip. Buying the dip.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Push it. Buying the dip. Buying the dip. Here we go. Come on. Push it.
That's funny. Don't forget to
Buying the
floss,
dip.
guys.
Buying the
Here
dip.
we go.
Come on. Push
Oh
it.
my God, what's happening?
First of all this whining by Wall Street is making me sick. 140% of GameStop was short. GameStop was short. You can't allow Wall Street to short 75% of its stocks. Crush these companies into the dirt. Thousands of stocks into the dirt. Then when the individual makes money, everyone's entrepreneurs. I have a kid who bought a house, paid $50,000 and bought a house. After decades of the short, you have to accept the fact that individual investors are playing the same game.
This is our new
you're
theme
playing,
song.
and now you're losing.
Here we go.
Buying the dip. Buying the dip.
Well, it gives me an idea to cut up some of our videos into
Here we go.
a memeable song.
Here we go. Come on. Push it. Oh my God. What's happening? Here we go. Come on.
Oh my God, what's happening?
Here we go.
That's fun.
All right, I'll stop that.
Bro, we should hit up Kevin. I'm gonna text him and be like, yo, can we license this from you? And if you say no, we're gonna use it anyway. So don't
Use it as the end credit song, right? When we're done.
Yeah.
That's a good song, bro. It's a great
I
song.
mean, it's catchy. I know I'll be singing that today.
Maybe that could be the intro song. Buying the dip.
Buying the dip. Seriously. I mean, hey.
Here we go. Come on, push it.
Carlos, were you able to find your thing?
Oh yeah, I'll just share the screen. This is something that I feel like I couldn't find it on X.
Oh my God, what's happening? That was me when I invested a biotech and they reverse split on my ass. I was like, oh,
I hate reverse
that's not
splits.
nice.
I hate reverse splits. They're
That was
that's
pretty
just a
damn
sign of
mean
death.
there, buddy.
So this is when people ask me why September 21st. This is what I was looking at. Last 3 years, September 21st ended up being 2020 ended up being the lowest price of the year. That was when Bitcoin was trading at, I think it was, look at that, $9,000. It touched $9,000. From then it broke its all-time high, and then we saw the run up in 2021 up to, what was that, $40,000 in January, I think, of that year, right? Was that January? Yeah, like right in January of that year. In 2021, we saw Bitcoin again after a run up over the summer. September 21st, we saw a big sell-off that ended up being the lowest price. Now, the difference of 2021 is we actually saw the all-time high. We came up around $69,000. So if you bought on September 21st, anyone who bought from then on later was able to enjoy some profit taking up until the actual blow-off peak in 2021. And that was the second time we tested that level. And if you look at 2022, the same sort of deal. Now, we had that massive sell-off, but you see that we had a capitulation event on the 21st. And so my belief is that we're about to, or we are seeing the same thing happening. And if we see that price tomorrow, I'm not going to say I'm going to bet the farm on it because I do have a good number of Bitcoin, but I will definitely be picking some up tomorrow.
What is the price you're looking for? You're looking for 26K?
I actually thought it was going to be lower than it is. I mean, based on charting, I think if we hit 24,000, that's going to be it. I was hoping for 20, under 20, to be honest. I was looking to get one more dip under $20,000 to get, say, a good, above a 5x return, because we're going to blow past at some point. We're going to blow past 70. It'll be tough getting there. I think it'll be very volatile getting there. But once it blows past that, forget it. I think we go straight to 100, and then we'll see what that resistance is like there. But I mean, a lot of people, and then not even Bitcoin maxis, are thinking that we're going to see 150, somewhere between 150 and 250,000. It really depends on what regulation is around then, what the sentiment of Bitcoin, because it trades a lot on sentiment, and it depends on how much of these institutions are willing to put some of their free cash flow into Bitcoin. So there's events that happen around it, macro events that happen around Bitcoin that affect the price of Bitcoin. But overall, I feel like we're just in a really good environment for this asset to take off. And so this point next year, we could be having a very different conversation.
Yeah. I'm going to share one last thing with you guys, but basically this is what I see for like a lot of AI work coming for not just animation, but like all sorts of things. Can you just play this real thing, Amit? So have you guys ever watched or like played the game Warhammer? Warhammer 40K. Amazon bought the rights for it, and they're probably going to be making a show for it. It's a freaking awesome, and Henry Cavill's involved in the project. But one of the things, so this guy's channel, all he does is like upscale existing content, and the way he does it is through a neural network AI. But it's freaking cool to see, man. So I just wanted to show you guys real quick. Hold on.
These for AI or game, for movies or games?
No, this one's for a game.
Right. Oh, to upscale a game from HD to 4K.
Yeah. I love this trailer, by the way. Hold on.
Together we banished the ignorance of old night.
Hold on. We put it on 4K. I don't know if that translates on Google. I don't know.
You can see the difference.
Yeah.
But you betrayed me.
So what, this was originally built at 1080?
Gods and lied to your sons. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will.
Man, it looks good.
Yeah.
But it's easier to upscale a game than it would be a film. A lot of this technology came from people trying to restore old films. Like, and I'm sure you've seen it. Have you seen any of those things? Like, even in your search window, look up New York in the 1940s or New York vintage 4K, and you'll see that people have actually up-res and colorized. They actually use AI to even colorize old black and white a film that was taken even as far back as the 1800s, the original films, and get rid of all the scratches.
Here's the side-by-side comparison between the two. The one on the left is the original. The one on the right is the new one. So look at the difference.
And the fire, the particles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, your point's just AI is getting crazier and crazier.
Dude, AI is getting so crazy right now, and the cost of producing content around AI is amazing, dude. Like,
that's why people are on strike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine Disney doing this to all classic films. Wow.
Yeah.
I believe all of that is coming. It just makes sense. I mean, that they used to spend so much money, like for a lot of the films in the 90s that were shot, like there was a remastered version of, say, Terminator 2, and I bought it. I bought the Blu-ray when Blu-rays came out. They would up-res a lot of these films. They would go
what's
back
Blu-ray?
I'm
kidding.
I know you don't.
That's such an asshole thing to say. That's such an asshole thing to say.
But I wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
There's one more that I want to
chat. Is he feeling blue?
Blu-ray
What's
was
going on?
supposed to be my God, Blu-ray was supposed to be like the shit. And
bro, Blu-ray looks like such a stupid concept now that you think about it with 4K.
Blu-ray, actually, you know what? Blu-ray to me is what I see like Uber. It was a great technology that just got completely destroyed by everything going digital. It was so great. It was the perfection of a certain medium that then became obsolete.
This was a fan-made film. I don't know what kind of budget this guy used, but he is like just a regular creator. This guy made this movie.
It's actually pretty easy to do that because all of the models, you can buy those models. Like they're for Unreal or Unity, you can buy them. And then,
really?
Yeah, you can buy them. You're not going to sit there modeling a TIE fighter. There's guys that have modeled it perfectly.
Yeah.
Bro, that's like real.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does look a little bit video game, but
Keep it together, R5.
Now I know why Disney's not trying to pay these motherfuckers, bro. If they can make this shit on YouTube. Oh man.
the battles are obviously easier to pull off than.
This looks like Avatar.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
That's crazy. Could you imagine someone from 1930 looking at something like this? Like,
it would seem like even to us, this is not even possible. This is the future to us.
Get some weird power surges. Looks like it's coming from the Senate district. Wait, incoming fire! Hit! Hold on! I've lost power. I'm going down. Just give me a second.
wow.
Is R5 hit? R5, are you hit? Well, okay, well, great. We'll just pick one of them. We're going, R5. Power's back. Systems up.
We're just doing it's like a Twitch stream now. We just got some video playing, a chat on the side.
We demonetized this once. We're like, let's just demonetize.
He's like, fuck it. Yeah. Anything you guys want to play? Any song you guys want to play?
Any music you guys want to hear today?
What I want to see is who. I want to see who fucking fights the copyright to see if they get the monetization. That's what I want to see.
Who
do you give it to? You give it to Star Wars? You give it to this guy? You give it to this one? You know.
Well, David super chats protect us for our labor. Just even if YouTube takes the ad revenue. Look at this guy. He finally decides to show up to the stream at the end. Doesn't even say hi in the beginning.
He's been watching the whole time.
Vitaly, you know, I said you're busy with the sperm that turned into humans tonight. When someone asked where's Vitaly, I was like, well, he's busy with the sperm that turned into humans. That's it. All right. That's it for today. This was fun.
Yep.
Super cool. And tomorrow's Thursday, right? We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow will be the last one of the week. Thanks for the one guy that joined. I want to get more people to come on at the end of the show. So yeah, think about what you would want to talk about tomorrow, guys.
Please like and subscribe.
Yes,
please. If you're not subscribed,
we have 50 likes.
Wait, there's one thing. I don't know if you covered it. Someone asked about VeChain. One super chat.
Oh shit, Carlos. Any thoughts on VeChain?
I mean, it's the same sort of thing. All of these altcoins that pop up around Bitcoin, claiming to be the next best thing. You can make money on these things. But I mean, what is the underlying technology? What is the actual value of these things? I think a lot of these altcoins are guilty of being what people still claim Bitcoin to be. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum have proved their utility, proved their value above and beyond, say, the Ponzi scheme. But a lot of these coins are just, I think they're a serious gamble. Polkadot is another one. I heard that was going to be the next, it's like the Tesla killer. This one's going to be the next thing. I would personally say be very, very careful with those things. And if you really do want to speculate on them, I would speculate on them after Bitcoin has run up. I would not be messing around with it.
Tally made 12x on it. Holy crap.
Yeah, you can make money. That's the thing. You can make money on those things. But you could also lose everything, you know. So personally, I'm very careful. I'm very, very careful with those. And I would probably dabble in some of those altcoins after Bitcoin has had its run up and people are looking for a place to amplify further some of the gains that they made on those, right? Because that's when you usually see the cascading. Like Ethereum will peak a month or so after Bitcoin for those very reasons. So that would be my take on it.
Yep. Thank you to James. Just liked, almost forgot. Thanks for everything, guys.
We got 66. We got 16 likes and
hey, everyone, can you please like and subscribe for the stream? Because we really are trying to grow the channel and we've hit somewhat of a peak. Please hit the like and subscribe if you can. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m.
Later.
Good night, everyone.
See you later. Bye.